Yo, welcome back. This is Support Via Quirk Larceny by Flapjack09. Chapter 7, No Such Thing as Bad Publicity. Even after the 4-day break that usually accompanied the sports festival, Class 1A was still shaken after the attack. Sure, only 2 students from their class had actually been involved, but the very fact that it happened at all didn't set the right precedent for the rest of the school year. Who's to say more villains couldn't come and attack the school this very day? As such, Aizawa was mildly surprised when he walked into the classroom and was greeted by 19 nearly silent students. Those who were talking quickly ended their conversations and got to their seats. "All right, class," Aizawa began. "The school is aware that you all may have been shaken by the events that transpired last week and would like to remind you that Hound Dog's office is always open if you need someone to talk to. Additionally, we've increased the school's security tenfold since the break and can confidently say that any repeat of the sports festival incident will never occur." The class seemed to brighten up a little at that statement. "Moving on," Aizawa continued, pressing a button on his remote. "It's time to talk about internships. Normally, requests from pro heroes would be more spread out among students, but this wasn't exactly a normal sports festival." The screen showed a list of how many internship requests everyone got. Suyu and Ochako were at the top of the list with thousands of requests each, followed by Todoroki with a few hundred, Ida and Bakugo with a couple dozen, and everyone else with 1, 2, or even none. Suyu stared at the screen blankly. "I'm not surprised by this outcome, Ribbit." "I am!" Ochako blushed from embarrassment. "I didn't even fight any villains." "You're selling yourself short, Ribbit. You still kept a cool head as you helped Aizawa." "Thank you, Sue." Ochako turned to her teacher. "I'm curious about Midoriya and Hatsume, though. Did they get internship requests, too?" Aizawa nodded. "Yes, Midoriya got more than anyone in the class. Since they're in the support course, it's up to them if they actually want to accept any." "I'm going with Best Genist," Mei announced. "He's a high-ranking hero who sent me an offer, so he'll be perfect for getting my name out there. What about you, Izuku?" Izuku didn't respond. He was occupied with staring at his phone, absently scrolling through social media. Mei took immediate notice of this. "Doom scrolling through social media? I actually built a baby for my phone to help with that." To demonstrate, she took out her phone and opened social media, only for a .22 Winchester Magnum rimfire pistol to pop out of her phone and point itself at her face. "See? No social media." The sounds of a gun drew Izuku's attention away from his phone. "Sorry, Mei. It's just that a lot of people has been talking about our performance at the sports festival." "I know, right? I saw footage of us on the news yesterday. Soon everybody will know the name Mei Hatsume." "That's the problem." Izuku's tone grew more frustrated. "You heard what they said about us. People are calling me a hero. I'm not a hero. I never wanted to be a hero. Actual heroes are sending me all these internship requests, and they're probably under the pretense that I'm a support course student trying to get into the hero course. I swear, it's all Dara all over again." There was a long moment of silence as Izuku caught his breath. Eventually, Mei decided to break the silence with one simple question. "So?" Izuku stared at his best friend like she had grown a second head. "So what?" "So what's the problem? You competed in the sports festival so people would see your babies, and I think we could both agree that people saw them." "I mean, yeah. Hell, they did more than just see them. You used them to launch a bioengineered super weapon across the sky. If that isn't the first good impression, I don't know what is." "I suppose." "Listen." Mei sat down next to Izuku and pulled him to her side. "The heroes probably sent me their internship requests under false pretense, too. But frankly, I don't give a flying fuck. Genus is gonna be getting 100% Mei Hatsume 100% of the time, whether he likes it or not. So why can't you be the same? Izuku let out a soft chuckle. Thanks, Mei. That really helped. I'll think about the internship thing, but no promises. Just then, Izuku's gaze shifted towards a nearby window. Although, there is one more thing that bugs me about this whole situation. Mei tilted her head in confusion. Oh? What was that? The HPSC noticed my funny little rampage, and now they've got their eye on me. As if on cue, a knocking could be heard from the window. Mei turned to see the number 3 pro hero, Hawks, trying to get Izuku's attention from the other side of the window. Hey kid, wanna go flying with me? I'm sure you got a quirk for that, Hawks asked, his tone laced with a bit of pleading. Izuku sighed. Hawks, for the last time, I'm not interested in working under the HPSC. Now leave me alone. Izuku opened the window and began to shoo Hawks away like he was a pigeon. Yeah, the best I can do for you is make a bird-seeking missile, Mei admitted. Please and thank you. Thank you for coming to meet me, young Asui, said All Might as he sat across from his student. No problems, but please, call me Sue. Very well, young Sue. Good enough, Ribbit. So, why did you want to talk to me? Firstly, I wanted to commend your efforts at the sports festival. I noticed your actions while the UA staff and I were going over the footage. If it weren't for your efforts, we might have had a critically injured student and a teacher on our hands. Thank you, All Might. Sue paused and looked down at her lap, expression still unchanging. If I can be honest for a second, that might have been the scariest moment of my life, Ribbit. I was this close to seeing my best friend and teacher get killed, and I didn't think there was anything I could do about it. Tears started prickling at Suyu's eyes. If my body hadn't moved on its own the way it did, Ribbit, Suyu didn't dare to finish that sentence. All Might laid a gentle hand on Suyu's shoulder. Thank you for sharing this with me, young Sue. I find that, as a hero, focusing on the what-ifs never does any good, especially if you did the right thing. Many of the greatest heroes will say they had a moment similar to yours, where their bodies moved on their own. I'd say that makes you a true hero. Suyu wiped her tears off her face. Thank you, All Might. That leads me to the main reason why I wanted to meet with you in the first place. I'd like to make you an offer. You mean an internship, Ribbit? I thought UA staff couldn't do that. All Might let out a boistering laugh, dissolving some of the tension in the room. Something better than an internship, young Sue. I would like you to inherit my quirk. Suyu silently blinked for a few seconds upon hearing that. Ribbit, did I hear that correctly? That you did. My quirk is a torch passed down from generation to generation, growing stronger with each new holder. The name of my quirk, and yours if you accept it, is One for All. Suyu took a moment to process what had just been said. Okay, I get why you chose me specifically, but why give away your power at all? You seem to be doing just fine, Ribbit. Ah, yes. All Might's tone dampened a little bit. That leads me to my next big reveal. But fear not! Suddenly, All Might exploded in a cloud of steam, leaving a skeleton of a man in his wake. For I am still here. Suyu tipped over and fell out of her chair in shock. Ribbit, what the fuck? Toshinori chuckled. I know, surprising, is it not? This form is due to an injury I sustained several years ago. Toshinori lifted his shirt, revealing a nasty scar on his right side. He took out my lung and most of my stomach. As a result, I can only hold my muscle form for about 3 hours a day. Suyu's eyes widened in realization. Oh, so that's why you've been doing the bare minimum at teaching, Ribbit. Blood spewed out of All Might's mouth in shock. Hey, cut me some slack. I'm new to this whole teaching thing. Sorry, that was rude, Ribbit, but now I understand why you're looking for someone to pass your quirk on to. Exactly. With all that in mind, would you like to inherit my quirk and become my successor? Suyu stand there in silence for a moment, her mind deep in contemplation. Eventually, she faced up to look at Toshinori, her expression unreadable as ever. You know, if you had asked me that last week, I would have turned you down. I always wanted to be a rescue hero, Ribbit. I wanted to be someone who people could look at and feel safe, but during the sports festival, I almost wasn't fast enough to save my best friend. And if I want to avoid a situation like that in the future, a situation where I have to watch someone else die, I'll need to be stronger. So yes, All Might, I accept your quirk. Toshinori nodded. Yes, very well then. But before we begin the transfer, we must ensure your body is strong enough to handle the quirk. That shouldn't be a problem, Ribbit. Suyu gave her arm a flex. The muscles made themselves very apparent. I've been hitting the gym since I was 10. Plus, Toru's been letting me try out her workout plan. Toshinori grinned. All right. Would you like to do this now, then? Ribbit. No use installing. Wait, one more thing. This quirk will also enhance your previous quirk, meaning you'll end up more frog-like, Suyu finished. And that's probably a good thing in the long run. If I'm even half as good as a hero like you, I'll end up in the top 10, Ribbit. There aren't many mutant quirks users in the top spots, so I'm sure I could do a lot of good for people like me. Pragmatic as always. This is why I'm sure you'll be a great successor. Now, if you're ready. All Might bulked up into his muscle form, plucked a hair from his head, and handed it to Suyu. Eat this! Without skipping a beat, Suyu grabbed the hair with her tongue and immediately swallowed it, leaving All Might stunned. Okay. After that, the school day went on like normal for Suyu. All Might had told her it would take time for the quirk to fully transfer, but he didn't know exactly how long. This left Suyu a little angsty, but she had no idea when her body would start becoming froggier. It was like speedrunning puberty. As the last bell of the day rang, Suyu noticed Kaminari turn to her, flash a bright smile. Hey, Sue, you never told us you could camouflage. Suyu tilted her head in confusion. I'm not camouflaging, Ribbit. Ochako chimed in. Then why are you green? Suyu looked at her hands, and yep, they were green. She also felt a weird feeling in her tongue. Was her tongue getting longer? She was pretty sure her tongue was getting longer. Suyu immediately knew what this meant. She began speed walking out of the classroom. I'll see you guys tomorrow, croak. At that croak, a sack on Suyu's tongue expanded to the size of Ochako's head. That wasn't there before. Before anyone could question Suyu's latest quirk development, she bolted out of the classroom and made her way to the gym All Might told her to meet at. Alright, so your cover story is that your quirk stress evolved during the sports festival. It just took a few days to fully manifest, said Toshinori as he set up the training dummy. And the super strength is because frogs function better in humid climates. I just learned how to channel the humidity around me, Ribbit. Suyu continued while performing warm-up stretches. When Suyu was ready, she placed herself in front of the dummy and readied into a fighting pose. So, how does this work? All Might flexed into his muzzle form. All you have to do is reach into the depths of your soul, clench your butt cheeks, and yell, "Smash!" For some unexplained reason, Suyu wasn't sure that would work, but then again, All Might had the quirk for 40 years. He must know what he's doing. Suyu pulled back her fist, reached into the newly found pool of energy in her soul, and yelled out with all her heart, "Smash!" As soon as Suyu's fist made contact with the dummy, it exploded into a million pieces. The same could be said for Suyu's bones. Suyu watched her arm turn purple and swill limply to her side. As the pain began to set in, she let out a wail of pure agony. As the painkiller set in for Suyu, she took a small amount of joy in watching Recovery Girl beat Toshinori over the head with her cane. Clench your butt cheeks and yell "Smash"? What kind of a boneheaded advice is that? In my defense, it worked for me, Toshinori pleaded. Recovery Girl ceased her beating and turned to Suyu. Regardless, you both need to figure out that quirk of yours. I don't want this to become a frequent occurrence. Recovery Girl had then begun treating Suyu's broken arm, but rather than kiss it like she normally did, she poured a pink liquid from a cup across the appendage. However, Suyu still felt her stamina drain as her arm began to heal itself. Thank you, Recovery Girl. What was that pink stuff, Ribbit? Recovery Girl gestured to a large vat of liquid in the corner of the room. That Midoriya boy figured out how to replicate my quirk by reverse engineering my saliva. Such a sweetheart, that boy. I already sent him the largest fruit basket in Japan. She turned around to face Toshinori. By the way, I'll be retiring at the end of the school year. Suyu scratched her chin with her left hand. Midoriya did know a lot about quirks, didn't he? Excuse me, Midoriya? Izuku and Mei paused from eating their comically large fruit baskets, turned to Suyu, who had just entered. Mei immediately leapt up in excitement. Ooh, Frog Girl! You're just on time! I just finished a baby that harnesses the power of Saturdays and spit them back at people. Wanna try it out? Suyu shook her head. Not today, Ribbit. I came because I need help figuring out a new aspect of my quirk, and frankly, you're better at this stuff than most quirk counselors. Izuku blushed a little at the praise. Well, tell me about your quirk. Suyu explained the cover story for her quirk, as well as the breaking of her arm. All the while, Izuku nodded and took notes, while Mei grew bored and fiddled with a small device she pulled from her pocket, which then promptly exploded. Okay, Izuku said after the explanation. I think I know how to fix this, but let me just get a feel for... When Izuku tried to grab at Suyu's quirk, it wouldn't budge. He pulled a little harder at the imaginary rope. Nothing. That's weird. Your quirk won't budge, he said as he pulled even harder, gritting his teeth. Why isn't it working? At the same time, in an empty void, the spirits of 7 dead heroes hold on to the essence of One for All, like their afterlives depended on it. This is just great, Second said sarcastically. First thing Ninth does is offer our quirk to All for One's Hellspawn on a silver platter. Hey, that kid isn't related to All for One, and you know it, Nana scolded. I'll believe it when I see it. You did see it. There was a whole pile of DNA tests. Likely story. Because it's true. And sighed to himself. First thing we do after reaching singularity is tell Ninth to stay the hell away from this kid. I don't think I can do this every day. Agreed, said Banjo, who was noticeably tired from holding on to the quirk for so long. Izuku had been trying to take Suyu's quirk for about 5 minutes when he gave up and collapsed on the floor, breathing heavily. Are you done now, Ribbit? Suyu asked, leaning over Izuku's exhausted body. Yeah, sorry, I don't know what happened. I mean, I could take your quirk before. Is your quirk just that strong now, or am I letting myself go? I'm not sure, Ribbit. I'll ask someone about that later, but back to the bone-breaking issue. Right, Izuku stood up. If I had to make a comparison, I would say it's a lot like my pixie dust quirk. Ribbit, how so? When I want to make myself float, I don't just coat my arm with dust. Instead, I spread out the dust evenly around my entire body. Try doing that with your strength enhancement. Suyu obliged, focusing a small portion of the power through her entire body. Soon, a light glow began to emanate from Suyu's body, and dark green spots colored her skin. How do you feel? Izuku asked. Suyu focused on her energy within her. More limber, more agile, and less bone-breaky. Croak. That's good. What are you gonna call this new move? The light radiating from Suyu began to face as she dropped her quirk. I'm not sure. I'll figure something out during my internship with Mirko. Mirko sent you an internship request? Wow. I bet she'll be able to help you incorporate your super strength into your fighting style. Thanks, Ribbit. I should probably get going now. There's someone I need to talk to. Why can't Midoriya take my quirk, Ribbit? Blood spewed out of Toshinori's mouth. You let him take your quirk? Yes. It took him all of 5 seconds to fix my bone-breaking problem. Toshinori sighed as he wiped the blood off his mouth. Fair enough. So, my quirk? Right. There was some small, tiny, insignificant little detail about One for All that I neglected to mention. Suyu raised an eyebrow. And what was that? It all started at the dawn of Quirks. One history lesson later, so there's an immortal villain with the same quirk as Midoriya who's hell-bent on taking my quirk. Toshinori's body scrunched up as he gave Suyu a nervous expression. Yes? Part of me wants to slap you right now, Ribbit, but the other part understands why you didn't tell me. Not to mention, I probably would have taken your quirk regardless. I apologize for not telling you, young Sue, but rest assured, I will make it my personal mission to ensure that you would never have to face that man in your life. I appreciate it, All Might, but what about Midoriya, Ribbit? You said he wasn't related to All for One, but isn't he in danger of figuring out about One for All? Toshinori scratched his chin. Possibly, but from what I've seen from young Midoriya, he doesn't seem like the type to pry. He should be fine so long as he stays at arm's length. You're probably right, Ribbit. Midoriya already has a bunch of quirks to worry about. I'm sure he'll let this one go. I'm not letting this go, Mei. Izuku dug through his pile of internship requests. Never in my life have I seen a quirk I couldn't take. What about that quirk that blocked off all quirk transfers to the holder? Mei questioned. That was different. I could take Suyu's quirk just fine last week, but now I can't. And what if I can't take her quirk? Who's to say I won't be able to take others' quirks in the future? Mei pulled out a small device. My overreaction sensing baby says you're overreacting. That thing's broken. I'm not overreacting, Izuku yelled before he pulled out a specific paper from the pile. I just need to get stronger, and if I want to get stronger, I need to intern with the toughest hero I know. Before Izuku scanned the paper, he pulled out his phone and dialed a number. Mirko, it's Izuku Midoriya. I'd like to accept your internship request. Sir, this is Taco Bell. And that's it. That was all to chapter 7. And I think I messed up the voices. Well, I mean, I'm not good at voices anyways. But I think I, switched voices around at some point. So there's that. But I hope y'all enjoyed. And, make sure you're eating and drinking. And that's also my reminder because I haven't had water at all today. Huh. Okay, anyways. So, I will see you guys next time. And by next time, that's possibly tomorrow or the day after that. Or I'm probably jinxing myself. But yes. Goodbye.